And then I give you a performance review after a few weeks of use and breaking in the basketball. But this basketball does not need 2 reviews, and you'll understand in a second why that is. First of all, you need to keep in mind expectation and intention. So And1's intention for this ball, who they intend this ball to be for, and your expectations of what to get out of this ball. Second important piece of information is that I paid $18 for this basketball. Now, I ordered this ball from Amazon. It came in the mail in a small box. It was like half the size of a shoebox box. And in that box, you get a piece of paper giving you some information about the ball, and you get a 12-inch And1 basketball pump. So here's my deal with inexpensive basketballs that come with a basketball pump. So when I get that pump with a cheaper basketball, I always think about the fact that why would you give me that pump, right? It's good to have the pump. I like that they include it. I like that's part of their package. But my thought is, when you give me that pump, I think that the reason you're giving me the pump is because the people who order that more inexpensive, cheaper basketball, they may not have any other basketballs to that point. It's very well may be their first basketball. If it's their first basketball, they very well may not have a way to inflate that basketball, so thus companies include pumps in with those cheaper basketballs so that you can inflate them. That tells me that these kinds of balls are intended for beginner basketball players. Not necessarily kids. I don't want to say kids because it doesn't have to be younger kids, but just players who are not into basketball yet, who don't yet have basketballs. Maybe this is their first basketball and so they need a pump. So that was kind of my first indicator of what this kind of ball is probably being intended for in terms of what And1 wants you to use this ball for. So instead of basketball pumps, include a way to measure PSI for basketballs, at least basketballs that are intended for intermediate or advanced use. That's what I'd like to see. But when you get a cheaper ball and it comes with a pump, that's a pretty good indicator to me that that ball is intended for new users. When we get into the actual build of the basketball, this is a straight rubber basketball, completely standard in its material. While the rubber feels very standard, very average for an outdoor rubber basketball, the problem is in this cover, the material on the rubber of the basketball that gives it this cool design, right? So you got rubber, and then you have what is kind of like a plastic kind of sticker that they just kind of stuck on top of this ball. When you put that plastic on top of this rubber, now you have kind of a sheen on the rubber. It's kind of more slipperier, right? It's got a slick to it that it shouldn't have. It has that slick because of the plastic that's sitting on top of the rubber. If this covering here that didn't give it this cool design wasn't on here, the grip and feel would be better, it would be tackier, but because you have this cool design, now you have plastic on top of rubber, making it a little bit slippery. And the way I know that this is some kind of plastic cover on top of this rubber is because of this little flap right here. You guys see that? Look, you can tell that this flap that shouldn't be here is here because it's overlapped from the rest of the cover, this plastic cover on this rubber basketball. This is not acceptable to me. Now, this is not anything that's going to be detrimental to your game or it's going to mess you up or anything like that. It's just quality control by And1, man. It's like, come on, this is not acceptable. I understand the ball's only $18, $17, but like, this should not be here, right? It's not a big deal, but it's just the idea of like, come on, quality control. This should not be here. There's no excuse for this to happen to at least this degree. That's ridiculous. I will say that the pebbling on this ball is above average, meaning it's more round than the average pebbling on the average outdoor rubber basketball. It's a little bit more pronounced, so that helps with the overall grip. So when you combine the material of the ball and the pebbling together, that's what really gives you the overall grip of the ball. But even with that little bit more pronounced pebbling on this ball, it's still not really, you know, it's not as well as you would like it to be.